And it's something I got off the first day. And you talked about the team needed to be more dynamic and score more goals, something you didn't do last year. What
specifically am I talking about?
Yeah, I know you just said the improvement this year was you needed to obviously score more goals, be dynamic, and that's what you're.
Well, look, we can
into.
talk about it. I can say, and players can echo whatever I say or have their own thoughts. We need to score more goals. That's the generic comment. It's always the how. It's the when. It's the, how can we accomplish this? Those are the things that we'll work on. It'll be various parts. It's not one specific thing like, okay, we want Jordan or Raul to do this. It's a combination of different factors. I think if you did the math and, a guy over here scores, 5, 6 goals, which he can, a guy up front scores 12 or 15, and the guy over here scores 4 or 5, and this guy scores 9, and you get a couple from here and a couple center backs on headers, then pretty soon you're going to have a balanced, good attacking team. So it's kind of all over. We're going to talk about set pieces, we're going to talk about our attacking movements, we're going to try and do whatever it takes to score more goals. In the sense that we didn't give up a lot of goals, we didn't score enough. I've talked about in the past balance from the left to the right. I thought she did a good job. She scored 5 goals, 7 assists. And some of them were early. I think he could have played a little better against LAFC, but the kid's a good kid, talented kid. So I think we solved some of that.
On that, Mark, do you feel like you're happier at this point this year with the depth of the team overall than you were at this point?
Well, we'll see. We've taken some injuries. Reed's not here, Jackson's not. We've taken some, so we can't afford any more. But overall, the squad and everybody's healthy, yeah, I feel good.
Do you know anything more about Jackson's injury? He was here today.
I don't have the specific medical condition. I'll get that for you. But again, he's coming to Spain. He was out there running today. We'll try and get him ready for the first game of the year. I'm not sure we will, but we'll see.
So it's not exactly the knee, or what? Maybe do you know area?
Jade, I'd rather not say until I get it exactly what they want me to say. It's not a knee injury. It's a bone issue on the top of his tibia.
With what you were saying earlier as far as the goal scoring, is that why you also feel comfortable not having a designated striker signed?
Well, that might happen this year. You never know. You never know. That's for Craig and Adrian and Sean and everybody else. But we're gonna start the season off strong. The guys are putting good work in. I think it's an energized group. Again, they're talking. It's not just me. They're talking about the opportunity they had last year, and they want to get back to another final.
So are you comfortable with the fact that you have only Jordan and Raul as the strikers?
Raul's been excellent for this club for many years. Jordan is emerging as that role. That's good competition. It's good for me.
In terms of depth?
Yeah. You get two forwards. Maybe we look around for one more.
With Raul, is he still are you still watching the way he trains and controlling a little bit more?
He is 100% fully fit, if that's the question you're asking. There's no limitations, no anything. He's ready to go.
Speaking of goal scorers, what do you think of Rodilio Rodriguez, and what do you like in his game?
Well, we haven't seen him yet.
In terms of Tacoma.
In Tacoma, yeah. 15 goals, and MLS Next Pro is a good league, but he's got to come here and do it against professionals. What I do like is a little more experience, a little more seasoning. I wouldn't call him a young guy anymore at 24, but if he can help us, that's great.
Brian, what's the game plan given this dynamic offseason and injuries? You've got a few more practice here next week. You go to Spain, play some games, you come back here, and then you come back. And how do you kind of manage all that with injuries and competition?
Well, I think for a lot of years we've kind of come in, we kind of knew what everything was, starting positions. We always had a good squad. There was competition at various spots, but I think this year it's a little different. I think there's true competition. If you want to start with Raul and Jordan, if you want to talk with, we haven't seen De La Vega yet, but De La Vega and any of the guys in that middle line. Albert's got to do his thing. Christian hopefully is good. But the young kids, Obed, Josh, JP, Sota in that area. Look, Nathan looks pretty good. Could take some miles off Ymar. We're going to have some competition for our preseason this year.
Do you know who you're facing preseason-wise in Spain yet?
Yeah, we've got some teams lined up. I don't think that's ready for an announcement yet, but 3 really good games. We're excited about them. Good European teams.
You mentioned De La Vega. When you learned that he would potentially be joining the club, were you able to kind of, understanding his game, put him into one of those specific 3 attacking midfielders?
We're going to see what he's all about, and we'll figure that out. We got to get him here first. Since you asked the question, Jackson, there's a rumor flying around that he might be here Monday or Tuesday, maybe. Just because you asked. Give you that scoop.
Brian, so far in the preseason, which player would you say you've been most impressed by so far?
It's early. I'm a little bit more conservative. You know my approach. I like looking. Yes, there's guys that have done well. There's certain guys that, the young guys. There's some guys I like, but it's still just a couple of days in. I'd rather give you a more educated choice. So if you ask me Monday or Tuesday before we leave for Spain, I'll give you the guys I think did well.
Coach, you talked about wrinkles to your offense. That's not formation, right? Wrinkles is not. It could be.
Could be.
It's not just concepts. It could be formation. Nothing's off the table.
Nothing's off the table.
Brian, a lot of the names you mentioned, it sounds like depth is something that maybe it's a question for Craig. That's maybe the focus in the offseason, getting a little bit more depth, especially in terms of
he's
offense.
still looking for a couple of depth pieces.
Do you feel good with where that is in terms of where it was last year?
Yeah, I feel good. Look, the plan is to, that's the core group, maybe a couple depth pieces here or there. Let's see how the first 6 months go, and then if we need to make changes, I know that that's on the table as well.
How does Danny fit in? How does Danny fit into what you're saying too?
Danny Leva?
Yeah.
Good. Look, it's tough because that position we have a bunch of talented young players. So there's conversations with Danny, what it looks like staying here, maybe trying to get him on loan somewhere. So we're talking about all that.
It's still a possibility.
It's still a possibility, but again, it's still early. It's still early. If he plays well enough, then he's going to stick around.
Coach, you obviously celebrate 50 years, new logo. We talked about looks good. We talked about how long ago it hasn't been a title. Is there more pressure this year than before? Do you feel like?
50th?
Yeah.
Internal pressure is always the biggest for me. And I think that's true with the group. I'm looking at Steph Fry, Christian, Albert. They're good pros. They want to win. It's not outside forces. It comes from all of those guys.
Do you have any more clarity on the timeline for Reed's recovery? It looks like he's a little farther along just based on what he's been doing up here.
But we're gonna keep that one slow because remember he was coming back and then he re-injured it. We don't want to have a nagging. We're gonna make sure this one is.
And it's still the same so it's his hamstrings.
Yeah, still hamstring.
But he's gonna go with you to Spain,
Yes.
and it's sort of TBD as to how much he participates.
Do you expect De La Vega to eventually join the team in Spain?
If he arrives here next week, then yes, he will get on the plane with us.
And Javier is healthy at
Javi's back, yes, and wearing a mask.
And
Last couple guys.
Are you expecting Ymar in Spain as well?
Yeah,
we will travel straight over there.
Well, he has to get a physical first. The problem with Ymar is once he gets his passport, he has to collect his family, and then he's got to come up here. He's got to get his physical and all of those things. We're gonna see Ymar in Spain for sure.